Black belt, master educator, teacher, and coach, and author of Coffee with Rhadi. Today, I'd like to speak with you about something that is super important, something that has touched my life over the years, something that has hurt me to watch as an athlete and to watch the manifestations of it as an adult and to actually see as a teacher and a coach. I remember when I was at Howard University, and as an athlete, we'd always have NCAA meetings. We'd always have meetings. We'd always have papers from our coaches that we had to bring around to our teachers to have signed. I never handed those things in, ever. Um, I never had an issue. Uh, they were forms about due progress, I believe, or they were forms about what type of grade you had in the class to date. I guess the major concern was, were you eligible? Even dating back to high school, I remember people who could not play in the spring or compete in the spring for track and field because during the winter session they made some bad grades and they became ineligible. I remember there was this thrust to become eligible. In college, the thing was always, hey man, you need to make sure you're eligible. Don't lose your eligibility. Stay eligible, stay eligible, stay eligible. And what I found out was that coaches were concerned with kids staying eligible. And athletes were concerned with being eligible so they could play. And the thrust was on eligibility, not understanding that you could be eligible for your sport. You could be eligible to graduate. But upon leaving the university environment, you could find out very quickly that you're ineligible. And I've seen athletes like this, and it is a sad commentary to see people who have been given the distinction of a graduate of a university, the distinction of high grades, high marks, academic All-American credentials, honor student, to be provided with an assumption that they are eligible, or they are doing what's necessary in order to get through life. See, when you hammer home to an athlete that they must be eligible, you're actually teaching them what they need to do in order to be eligible. And in some cases, you have athletes who are relying on their athletic background or their athletic expertise or their athletic prowess in order to become eligible, not knowing that over a period of time that those skills will decline. And if that's what you were leaning on in order to be eligible, there will be a time when those skills go away, or those aren't the skills, or that's not the currency for your future trajectory that's going to be accepted. A time will come where that's not going to make you eligible. See, if you can run a ball up and down a football field and you run a 4.5, 4.4, 40, they may make sure that you're eligible. You might be able to go to class or not go to class, or hand an assignment or not hand an assignment, or hand an assignment late, and you might be eligible. You might run a 100-meter dash in 10.25, and you might be eligible. 10-1 flat eligible. You might be the leading scorer on your team in soccer, and things may work out for you to be eligible. But a time will come when you can no longer kick the ball, when you no longer can run it or tote it up and down the field, when you no longer can shoot from the free throw line, or those skills don't have any more value, meaning you're not in the NBA, you're not in the NFL, you're not in any of those places. They don't have any value now. Now your eligibility is going to be based upon those things that you either did not get or refused to acquire. And you will quickly find yourself in a situation where you are sitting on the bench of life. You are watching everyone else play. And you are getting frustrated because no matter how hard you work, they're just not putting you in the game. And it's not because sometimes you don't have the skills to play the game, because sometimes you do. But you're ineligible. You become ineligible for employment. You become ineligible in terms of my perception of you working along well with others. You become ineligible in relationships. You become ineligible for marriage. You become ineligible for passing down pertinent and important information to your offspring, to your nieces and your nephews. You become ineligible when you're around a dinner table speaking because you don't have those things that you should have acquired in college and high school. Your opinion becomes ineligible. You become ineligible because you did not believe that it was important to look beyond your current eligibility status. See, the world really doesn't give a shit if you made an A, B, C, D, or F on your report card. They really don't care. You grow up and you go through, did I get an A? Did I get an A? You go through school, did I get an A? Did I get a B? Did I get an A? Did I get an A? Nobody gives a shit. People are concerned with your ability to reason, your ability to think critically, your ability to be aware, your ability to know that it's important to listen, your ability to pick up an appropriate book and read, your ability to challenge yourself on a daily basis for your own personal betterment, your ability to exhibit some stick-to-itiveness, your ability to endure, your ability to persevere, your ability to get along well with others, your ability to exhibit not only independence but interdependence, your ability to understand where you fit socially within a group dynamic, your ability to do the right thing when nobody is looking. That's what life is looking for. And a lot of you go through life, and I see a lot of you go through the university setting, a lot of you go through the high school setting. Not knowing that you're getting ready to set yourself up to be ineligible. See, not going to class because you're a good athlete, or not handing in your assignments on time because you're a decent athlete or you got some help, or because you're all county, all whatever, all city, and all American. It's not going to help you. A time will come when that will no longer matter. A time will come when people are going to look for you to exhibit the skill set that comes with the paper sometimes that you've been afforded or awarded. And when you can't do that, they will look at everything in your life as being false, as being a lie. I'm telling you right now, there's nothing worse than watching somebody or looking at somebody who received a degree from an institution, and you try to have a conversation with them, and they can't even speak. Their reasoning skills are nil. And you know they skated through. And they played. And they were eligible. Now let me say this to the athletes watching. It is not the institution's fault. It is not the fault of the high school or the school or the NCAA. It's not their fault. They have measures and practices in place to make sure that the best case scenario is made, or the best foot is put forward for the institution and for the athlete. It's your fault. If you're an athlete and you believe that you're getting over, that's your fault. Excuse me. That's your fault. Because you know in life you don't get something for nothing. You know, if you're in an anatomy and physiology class and you don't go to class and you look on your grade report and you have a B and you keep going through school and you get out of school and you want to go become an x-ray tech, or you're thinking about going to med school, you think about working a job or teaching somewhere, you know you're going to be at a deficit. You know you're not going to have the skills necessary for that job. You're going to be ineligible. You're not even going to be able to sit down and talk to anybody during an interview about anything. And you will be ineligible. Not to the parents. Parents, stop turning a blind eye to reality. You know your little baby isn't reading or writing at an appropriate level. You know your child is not making those grades. You don't see your child study. You see your child bring home a report card for the A's, B's, and C's. You don't see your child's speech patterns or use of certain words or verbiage increase. Your child is not on par with what you believe a university student should sound like or should be like or should behave like. You don't hear your child talking about school. They're talking about running up and down the field, running around the track. You know there's a problem. When you ask your child about school and they say, all right, everything is all right, bullshit. If you're a parent and you let your child get away with house school and say, hey, everything is all right, you're an ass. You're an ass. I remember when I was growing up, and my dad would say every day, I can give you the script. Every day he said, how was school? I would say it was great, it was fine, it was okay. And the next question was, what made it great, fine, or okay? I was like, shit. Well, it was okay because blah, 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 blah. And then he say, and what else? What else happened today? Did you have any tests? Do you have any homework? Knowing good and well what the answer is. And then he would sit down and go through my book bag, which I used to hate. And I don't use the word hate, but I am telling you why I use the word hate now. Because 60 to 70% of the time, it would result in an ass whooping. Because there was some note that I didn't bring home, or there was some behavior problem that I had in class that I was trying to hide the note, and he would find the note in the bag because I wouldn't have time to hide it yet. But I am appreciative that my dad went through my book bag like that. He used to grab my book bag and dump everything out on the floor. Look through all the papers. Why? Why? Because my father knew the importance of growing up in society, and I'm talking about for me now, this is my personal issue. Growing up in society as a black person and as a black male, and understanding that you have to be eligible at all times. You got to be eligible in 3rd grade. You got to be eligible in 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. Making sure I'm in the academic excellence program in grade school. Making sure I'm doing the Odyssey of the Mind competitions. Making sure I'm doing sports. Pulling me off the wrestling team. Pulling me off the wrestling team in 9th grade because I made 2 C's. Because that was unacceptable in the house. I'm not talking about D's here. I wouldn't dare bring home a D in my house. Goodness gracious. I didn't make D's until I got to college. I felt like I was liberated that I could make a D. So, hell, I made 1. Hell, I made 2. And I felt good about it. because I wasn't allowed to make any D's. I said, shit, let me do what everybody else is doing. Okay? Still graduated now. And went to class every day. Understand that when I went to college, I was in class every day. On a nice Friday on the yard, when the sun is out on campus at Howard, I went to class. I might have been late. But I went to class every day. I could not afford not to go to class every day. I was an engineering major. I could not afford not to go to class. I played 3 sports. The only time I missed class, if I missed class for an event or a meet or something like that. I didn't miss class. I didn't miss class because I was smart enough at the time to take the number of how much school cost. Okay? Look at how much school costs at the university which you attend. Take that and divide it by the amount of credits that's required for you to graduate in your major. That is how much each credit is worth. And if you're in a 3 credit class, you take that amount and you multiply by 3. And then if you have 12 hours or 15 hours, 18 hours, you multiply by that, and that lets you know exactly how much money those classes are worth. You don't miss lunch, do you? You don't miss dinner. You don't miss your meal voucher, do you? No, why? Because it's important for you to be fed physically, mentally, and emotionally. I don't understand how you can go to school and miss class. Maybe because somebody might make you eligible at the time. But man, you are making yourself ineligible for life. Go to class, man. Go to class. Back on the athletes. Go to class. Go to practice. Don't miss class. Don't miss practice. Very simple. High school athletes. This is very simple. You want to be successful? You want to have the best chance at possibly going to college and playing sports? Whether it's scholarship or not. Man, go to class. Go to practice. Simple. College athletes. You want to graduate? Go to class. Go to practice. I can tell you right now, you can poll any athlete who failed out of college and ask them this question. Sir or ma'am, did you go to class every day? Did you go to class every day? If the answer is no, then they actually wanted to fail out of college because they did not want to go to class. And if you don't want to go to class, then they should allow you to leave. You're in school to go to class. You're in college to go to class. You're on scholarship to go to class and to go to practice. That's your job. What the hell? You're stealing if you are in college and you're on scholarship and your job is to go to class and to go to practice and you don't go to class, you are not holding up your end of the contractual obligation of a student athlete. You are stealing. If you don't go to class, or if you're going to class and you are not doing your homework, or you're not studying, and you're not bringing in your assignments on time, you are in violation of your contractual agreement as a student athlete. You are a student athlete. Take your ass to class. Do your assignments. Meet with your instructors. Do your homework. Go to practice. It's very simple. The rest of the stuff that you do on the periphery, you're going to college, parties and fraternities and all that stuff is great. That stuff is great. Don't get me wrong. I did all that stuff. It's fantastic. But that's not part of your obligation. You have a different charge to keep. And go to class. Go to practice. High school athletes, go to class. Go to practice. There's nothing cute about skipping. You know, I never did a senior skip day. I never did it. Junior skip day, senior skip. I never skipped. Oh, we skip. We skipping what? What are you skipping? Skipping to do what? Someone would be here. What are you skipping for? What are you skipping for? What are you missing class for? You're getting ready to set yourself up to be ineligible. Don't spend your time put it on the costume of eligibility. Because when the party's over and you got to take that costume off, it's a sad commentary if you're ineligible. So I didn't put on the costume of eligibility. I made sure that I was eligible. I was eligible coming in, and I was eligible going out. If you have a situation or circumstance where you're finding out right now that you may be ineligible, or you may be setting yourself up to be ineligible, let me tell you how you can fix it. You can go grab a tutor or somebody in your family or a teacher, and you can be honest with them and tell them, Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, Dr. So-and-so, Professor So-and-so, ma'am or sir, I'm getting ready to be ineligible for life, and I need some help. I'm having a problem with math. I'm having a problem with reading. I'm having a problem with writing. I'm having a problem with putting my thoughts together and getting them down on paper. I'm having a problem with being organized. I'm having a problem with time management. And I really would like some help, because I do understand that a time is going to come when I'm going to be on my own and I'm going to have to know how to do some of these things. And I do understand that more often than not, my ability to earn a living and take care of myself and my family is going to be based upon my ability to critically think in a lot of these areas. And I need some help. If you see yourself getting ready to be ineligible, that's how you get eligible. Open your mouth and ask for some help. This is Dr. Ferguson. This is a rough coffee with Rhadi today, because it applies, but sometimes it doesn't apply to everybody, but I still think it does apply to everybody. I remember when Lincoln McCavery, okay, he's one of the baddest wrestlers that ever wrestled in college. And it was a world-class wrestler, too, on the world-class level, Lincoln McCavery. I was sitting down listening to him. I believe it was 1999 or 2000 at the Olympic Training Center. And Lincoln was sitting on the floor. I was sitting on the bench. I think he was stretching or something after practice. And he said, man, if you start cutting too many corners, you're going to end up with a circle. I said, what? What's this dude talking about? If you cut too many corners, you end up with a circle. And I understood what he was saying, because if a thing is the way that it's supposed to be, if this is the training program, and this is how the training program is supposed to be, or if this is the route for success, and this is how the route for success is supposed to be, or this is the plan of action in order to get X, Y, Z and done, and this is what it's set up to be, or this is what you need to do in order to graduate, in order to be eligible, in order to graduate with these particular skills, and this is set up how it's supposed to be, and you start cutting corners, you start changing what it is, and not only do you change what it is, you change the trajectory of who's inside of it. And what happens is you start cutting corners on the thing, and then it's no longer what you intended it to be. Meaning, if you're a student athlete and you come into the university is set up for you to go to class, take classes, submit exams, get graded, get evaluated, and then test and then leave and then go on into the real world environment, either go back to school or become a professional. That's what it's set up for. When you start cutting class and not going to class and cheating and not putting your assignments in, and you start cutting corners. So the university is no longer the university. You're at the university, but you're no longer in the university because you have changed the thing. You've cut corners. So now what you're in is you're in your own school. You're in Johnson University now. Because if you were in the University of XYZ, now you're in Johnson University because you've changed the thing. You've cut so many corners that you've created a circle. And the problem is that when you get out, people are looking for a square. And all you can offer them is a circle. And when you put your circle on the table, they say, sorry, we don't take that. And you become ineligible for entry. It's like trying to get into a concert with a fake ticket. Your ticket looks like everybody else's. It looks good. But when they scan that barcode, it's not accepted. Take your time and be eligible. And understand this. If you're in a situation where you have to go back and acquire some skills or learn some things that you didn't learn, that's okay. That's fine. Sooner or later, you got to pay for that time anyway. Just go ahead and pay now. Because tú puedes pagar ahora o pagar después, pero vas a pagar.